Welcome to chapter 1. We're moving on to the sleeves, and here I'm going to show you how to make the cutest little ruffle sleeve. Before you start sewing your sleeve together, now the one thing you have to watch out for, and it's easily done, as you can tell here by my already existing line, I was on autopilot and I did it wrong myself. What you need to do is make sure that when you put a sleeve together, you have a pair. Not two of the same, you know, like this in the lining and then the same side again in the show fabric, or vice versa, but that you have a pair so that when you put them together and you're finished and you pull it apart, it actually is like we have it here, the right way round. I think this is so gorgeous. I actually really like this lining now. Sometimes what you find in your cupboard, in your stash, is exactly the right thing and you don't need to buy anything new. This is gorgeous, look. Right, so what do we learn from this? We make sure we have a pair and then we can put this beautiful sleeve together. So the first step, if you're doing a ruffle, is to sew along here so that we can then put it into the sleeve. And for the sleeve, you want to do the same thing. You want to roll it over and sew together the seam. And you want to roll it over on the other side as well. And you want to make very sure you haven't twisted anything and you're having a pair. So I'm going to just put one little pin there so I know that's my sleeve done. I'm going to do the next one here. There we go. I'm going to pin this too. One little pin. It's easier on the lining. I can't go wrong because, well, it's only printed from one side. So there you are. So I've got this done and ready to go. And I've got my little ruffle done as well. I need to do it, of course, for both sides. Another pin. Right, we're ready for that as well. There we have our little 1 centimeter seam. Take the next one, don't even take it off and cut threads off or anything. Just do this, look, pull it a bit, put the next one under, lock in your stitches and go to the end. And that way you've saved a little bit of thread, because if you're using expensive Gutermann, you don't want to waste it. Next step is to iron out your seams that we've just closed. Always use a lot of heat if you can. Now, linen, like mine, and cotton, you can really iron that at very high temperatures, so you don't need to worry about it. When you iron out a seam, it is better to just iron it flat and then open it out. I just forget it myself sometimes. That is so much easier and it looks so much better when done. There we go. And we do the same on the lining. Pick it up, iron this out. Now we know we want to put the ruffle in the top edge, so we're going to just fold this up. This is very simple beginner's technique here, nothing to it. A very nice method for anyone that knows how to sew and they want to try it a little bit is to put little pleats in and go in opposite directions or whatever, and you might have to use a much wider one for that. But then when you do the inside, so you only do one side and you pleat the other side exactly the same, and then what you do is, say this is pleated, you move your seam over and have them sitting not on top of each other, and what you will get is a much more structural edge here. So you might want to try that. And we're sticking with a simple gather method. This is just, you know, food for thought. And we're going to sew all the way around the top, and we're doing that with the gather threads, and we can just slide on our little mini ruffle. Okay. Right, now the next step is to make your stitch length much bigger, and you want to start just over the edge here and then just go edge to edge, create a little bit of tension here and go close to the edge with the first line of stitching. Line up the edges. And again, you stop right before you get to the seam, so your thread doesn't rip later. You leave a really long one hanging. And now we're going to feel the need for speed, and we're going to go around again. Line up the edge of your presser foot here with the previous stitching line. And woo! Let's roll. I'm going to put my lining first on here because it's just easier to see it. It's you can use this one as well. So take your lining and turn it so you've got the right side there. And then I'm just going to take my ruffle with the gathered part. There are too many threads, always in the way, right? Right, so I've got it like this, so I know, hello, this is how it has to go. So I'm going to put one pin here. So now I want to pull my gather threads so it fits around. I'm just moving this around until it fits, and then I can distribute it. It's very simple. This is proper beginner little ruffle. Look at that. I'm almost there. So it's a tiny little ruffle. So we've got a tiny little ruffle here that I'm going to distribute really nicely all the way around. And then all I have to do is pin it to, oh look, I've even got a little bit more, so I can pull it a little bit more. Let's go, let's have a look. Yep, that's fine, right? Very good. So now I can do that. I can go over in a figure of 8, wrap it around so it can't go anywhere, right? If you're using like a really lightweight fabric, of course, that comes down here, you might want to use a lot more ruffling. Now I'm going to use the pins so that they're vertical to the seam, so I don't have to take them out. So now I can take the other side. So we've got the right side here, and we need the right side to be facing it. So this one stays the way it is, and all I'm going to do is pop this inside. So I'm just pinning this all the way around, nice and neat. There we go. So it's edge to edge. And all I have to do is get this on my sewing machine arm. If you're going to try to put it on the arm like that though, it's going to be really hard. When you're sewing, the key is to always sew from the inside, especially when you have small bits. Make sure you've got the smaller stitch length back on there. And then we're going to do a 1 centimeter seam allowance all the way around. All worth it, so cute. Now we're done, it's sewn together. Got a nice little seam in here. You can just pull this apart like this. Ooh, how cute, how cute. Oh, I like it. And then we're going to tuck one of the sleeves in, of course. That is so cute. And now I can go to the ironing board and iron this. One of the tools I definitely would recommend you get is a sleeve ironing board. It's so much easier, especially if you do a lot of children's wear. And I'm just going to pull this up and press it. It's always a little bit easier when you're working with larger pieces. So I'm just gonna like really pull on it so I work this out really well. This is just perfect, just a tiny little gather. Like I said, if you're using a really lightweight fabric, you need more gather to have the same effect. And there we go. All we have to do now is to take out our ruffle threads. And there we go, gather threads out. And that's our sleeve prepped up now. We can put it to the side until we're ready to put it into the jacket at the very end.